What is going on, everybody? It's the Front, and we are back again for a mini review, as in Wrestle Kingdom 12 has happened early this morning, late last night, early this morning, whichever one you're at, and we had one of the most talked about matches of the last, I don't know, year and a half or so, with Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. I did happen to see 3 matches from this show that I'm going to go over, but were the 3 matches that I wanted to see, with Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, Kota Ibushi versus Cody Rhodes, which I thought was a pretty good match as well, and Will Ospreay versus Marty Scurll versus Takahashi, KUSHIDA, and if I'm correct, Hiromu Takahashi. I know these 4 guys right here, Will Ospreay and Hiromu Takahashi and KUSHIDA and Marty Scurll, I've seen multiple times on What Culture Pro Wrestling, the World Wrestling, the WCPW's World Cup of Wrestling they did last year, which was amazing to anyone who didn't see that. I will go over the results of the show before we get into the 3 matches that I saw. We start off with the New Japan Rumble before the show. We had Masahito Kakihara winning the New Japan Rumble, last event, eliminating a cheeseburger, which is a funny name for a name. The field was Bushi, Chase Owens, Cheeseburger, Dave Finlay, Delirious, El Desperado, Gino Gambino, nice name right there, Henra, Hiroyoshi, Tenza, Juicen Liger, Katsuya Kitamura, Leo Tonga, Manabu Nakahashi, Mashita Kakahara, which was the winner, Shota Kojima, Taka Michinoku, nice, Tiger Mask 4, Yoshihashi, Yoshimichi Kanemaru, Yuji Nagata, and Yujiro Takahashi. Then you get into the normal show, Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson over Roppongi 3K, Sho and Yo, by submission with a sharpshooter from Nick on Yo, winning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles for what I believe is like the 4th time, which a lot of people want to see the Young Bucks come to WWE, but these guys, I don't need WWE. WWE needs them. If WWE really wanted to have a good, talked about tag team coming and actually give them a push, the Young Bucks would be great for WWE, but these guys are making more money than they probably would ever make in WWE. They're so over and so, they're just so good. They don't need WWE. Just like later in the show, we had Kenny Omega. He doesn't need WWE. This guy's too good for WWE. WWE is not the be-all, end-all anymore. So, Matt and Nick Jackson, yes, I would like to see them in WWE as a staple in NXT for about a year or so, just to give them some actual fanfare before WWE ultimately would bring them up to bury them. But I would have to check that match out later. I did not get a chance to check that match out. But the Young Bucks over Roppongi for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles again. Then you had the Bullet Club, which is like the actual Bullet Club. It feels like, because I watched the 2 of those matches with other Bullet Club members, supposedly, with Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes, and they didn't feel like they were part of the Bullet Club anymore. It feels like the Bullet Club is Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, and Tanga Loa, and a couple other people, and the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Cody are in the Elite, and that's just a totally different stable and all. They win over Beretta, Tomohiro Ishii, and Toru Yano versus Michael Elgin, War Machine, Hanson and Rowe versus Suzuki Gun, Takashita, and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Taki Toguchi, Japan, Juice Robinson, Razuka Toguchi, and Taga Makibi, Never Overweight 6-Man Tag Team Championship Gauntlet. So it looks like the Bullet Club won that one. Kota Ibushi versus Cody Rhodes, which was the first of the 3 matches I saw. Kota won it with the Phoenix Splash. This match was pretty great in the 16+ minutes that they had in their match. Towards the beginning of the match, Cody's outside. Brandy's like trying to talk him up. Kota Ibushi comes out and hits Cody with the splash, but also Brandy was there too. It looked like Brandy took a nasty bump. She was playing dead. She looked like she was dead. Kota Ibushi, falling for the ruse that would be Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes' ruse, comes over looking all disheartened and sad and upset that he hurt Brandy. Picks her up, actually. Looks like he's going to take her to the back. Cody gets up and just nails him with a punch to the face. And he drops he drops Brandy, and Cody comes over and drops down beside her, and those two start laughing it up. Great match overall, Cody and him. The biggest talking point of this match is not who the winner was, which was Kota Ibushi. It was the fact that Cody Rhodes, towards the middle of the match, hit a crossroads off the apron to the outside on Kota Ibushi. And it looked like it could have been a count out for Kota. Kota gets into the match towards the end of the, into it, but right before the 20 count. Yes, they do 20 over in New Japan. They don't just do a normal 10 count. So that was one sick move right there. Before I went on YouTube and found the actual videos of these matches, someone actually uploaded all the matches from New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom 10, and I had a chance to watch this. I saw the GIF or the GIF of that move over and over and over again, and it was just sick every time. Kota Ibushi, if anyone doesn't know who he is, he was in the Cruiserweight Classic in 2016, and I can understand why WWE would want him in their Cruiserweight division. I also see why he was smart not to actually sign with WWE. That's why he didn't win the Cruiserweight Classic. Right now, I'm telling you, if Kota Ibushi would have signed with WWE back in 2016, he would have been the inaugural Cruiserweight Champion. They were building that Cruiserweight Classic around Kota until he said, I'm not signing. So they're like, oh, well, we have to redo our plans, because I believe it was supposed to be Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr., but both of those guys said, we're not signing. So we missed down on a classic match in the Cruiserweight division for Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. because those two didn't want to sign, and those two look like geniuses for not signing with WWE. Overall, a pretty good match. Felt like it could have went another 10 minutes, but these two put on a heck of a show. Kota Ibushi wins with a Phoenix Splash. Is it just me, or is it like every time you see somebody in Japan execute a move that you see like Seth Rollins or Sami Zayn or somebody else in WWE hit, it looks just more picture perfect and looks like they do it with just such elegance? I don't know. It's just, you see it in the Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho match 2, that he hits that jumping splash that you senton over the top rope that you see Sami Zayn hit in WWE every so often, and Kenny's just looks so much better. I don't know what it is. It just looked better. Maybe it was the camera angle of New Japan. But this was one of the best matches. Of the 3 matches, this is one of my favorites. All 3 of them were great matches. Match of the year candidates all around in New Japan tonight. And then they had Los Ingobernables, the Japan, Evil and Sonata over Killer Elite, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Lance Archer. Win by pinfall with a moonsault from Sonata on Smith to win the IWGP Tag Team Championships, titles changing all night long. Then the surprise, I did not see this match, but I know who Minoru Suzuki is. He was in What Culture Pro Wrestling last year during the Japanese qualifiers around that time. He faced off against Joe Coffey in some brutal matches. He loses the Ever Openweight Championship in a hair versus hair match, which it should have been hair versus title, not hair versus hair. Minoru Suzuki, I did see after the match, he looked like he was about ready to leave the ring, not adhere to the stipulation for losing, but he actually grabs this chair, puts it down in the middle of the ring, grabs the clippers, and actually cuts his hair himself to complete the stipulation. I saw a couple people put on Twitter, if I was locked in a room with a gun with one bullet, and Minoru Suzuki, I'm blowing my brains out. That guy is just a tough SOB. I would not want to take a punch or a kick or any strike from Minoru Suzuki. That guy is dangerous. I'm sure these guys put on a heck of a match. They did show some GIFs of Minoru Suzuki just hitting Gato back and forth, and it just looked brutal. Then my favorite match of the 3 I saw, it was this one, then Chris Jericho and Omega, and then Cody versus Kota Ibushi. Will Ospreay versus Hiromu Takahashi, KUSHIDA, and Marty Scurll for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. When Will Ospreay would win this match with the Oscutter on Scrull, this match was just amazing. Will Ospreay is by far the best junior heavyweight / cruiserweight / high flyer that is not working for WWE. In my opinion, this guy can do anything. It just feels like he can just do anything. There was a point in the match where they had a really awesome sequence where Marty Scurll or Kushida was like hunched over near the corner. Will Ospreay, it was Kushida, I'm pretty sure. Cause he like steps over Kushida, hits Marty Scurll with a Hurricane Rana, gets back up, hits Kushida with the Hurricane Rana. Takahashi then hits Will Ospreay with the Hurricane Rana, but Will Ospreay does a cartwheel and hits a drop kick on Hiromu Takahashi, who's sitting on the mat at the time, and just sits there and then does like a sit-in pose like you would see Aleister Black in NXT. Beautiful spot right there. There was a time, and this is something that the announcer said that I never thought I'd see either, where you had Will Ospreay and Marty Scurll double super kicking on Takahashi over and over, just hitting super kick after super kick after super kick. Then they hit Kushida with the double super kick. And it looked like we were going to get a double team Oscutter from Marty Scurll holding Takahashi while Will Ospreay went for the Oscutter, but that was reversed by Takahashi. Beautiful match, brilliant match. They did fight out into the arena somewhat, but this match was great. We did see a Back to the Future by Kushida, which is a beautiful looking move. These guys earned their paycheck tonight. I am happy to say I got to see this match. One of my favorite matches of the night, for sure. Then we had Hiroshi Tanahashi over Switchblade Jay White by pinfall with the high fly flow to retain the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Then we had the match that everybody was talking about. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, which by far looks 10 times or a million times better than the WWE United States Championship, in my opinion. Just a beautiful looking belt. No disqualification match, but I put a little disclaimer on that no DQ match, and this is something that's really ticked me off with no DQ matches over the years, except for one they did in NXT recently. A no DQ match is no disqualification, no count out, rope breaks are not there. And I've seen it in WWE. I've seen it today too. It kind of irks me that Kenny Omega is in the walls of Jericho and grabs the ropes. Referee breaks up the hold. Then, towards the end of the match, we get a one-wing angel by Kenny Omega on Chris Jericho, and I know why they did this spot, and I understand why they didn't want Chris Jericho to actually kick out of the one-wing angel to make it look weak, but Kenny Omega hits him with a one-wing angel near the ropes. Jericho at 2 grabs the ropes, and the referee breaks up the count. No DQ matches are not supposed to have rope breaks. And it had count, and then the referee was doing a count out too. Jericho did not get on this referee's good side either, but during the middle of this match, Jericho gets tossed to the outside over the barricade because they have 2 barricades. One to keep like around the match, and then they have like another barricade after a little bit ways for the crowd. They don't actually have the crowd up on the superstars or the wrestlers as close as WWE or other promotions, like other indie promotions, would have. But they have the announcers for the US and Japanese and anyone else in this barricade first area. Jericho was positioned by I believe it was the US announce team. He's there. Kenny Omega jumps and hits a springboard, goes for a springboard splash onto Jericho. Jericho moves, and Kenny Omega falls right onto this small table. By the way, Japan has some of the smallest tables ever. It's like you take the ones that you see in WWE, TNA, Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to call them, these nice size tables, and you just cut that in half, and then you cut that in half again, and that is a New Japan table or a Japanese table. So from there, those two are brawling and fighting all over that area right there. The referee, Jericho, has Kenny Omega in a Walls of Jericho during this part of the match. The referee is telling Jericho to get him back in the ring. Jericho, mad as can be, gets up, shoves the referee. Then this guy who is in red pants and a black shirt. These are, I guess, the young boys, young lions, the guys who will eventually be wrestling in this ring. They're just there earning their teeth and getting themselves up to where they would be later on in their careers. Apparently, this was the referee. This guy, this certain young lion, was the referee's son. Jericho shoves him down, puts him in the walls of Jericho, and just taunts the referee who's still down, saying, look at your son at this time. Jericho playing the massive heel at this time. So Jericho just loving this heel version of himself for this. Jericho always plays a good heel. His babyface persona sometimes can be iffy, but he's always been a masterful heel, and he played it up real well in this match. There was also, earlier in the match, because they had Jericho or Kenny Omega, I can't remember which one, set up a chair. One of those chairs that you see them around here too, it's got plastic in the middle, and it's got metal, the metal on the like metal frame. Sets it up in the corner. Jericho, it has Kenny Omega in the walls of Jericho. Jericho is got like Kenny Omega. This is the one time they didn't use the rope break, which made absolutely no sense to me. If you're going to do the rope break early on, Kenny Omega is under the ropes by the corner on the opposite side of the ring, ripping the curtain away, goes to grab something under the ring. He looks on the one side, nothing there. Goes to the other side and pulls up a canister. I didn't know what it was because this was my first Kenny Omega match, and I don't care what Jim Cornette said. This guy is a great wrestler right here. His past is his past, but this guy put on a heck of a match with Chris Jericho. He grabs this spray can of, I thought it was going to be like paint or something, but they said it was cold spray. Somehow turns his body enough, and Jericho turns back and gets sprayed in the face. I believe Kenny Omega called Jericho's name, and Jericho turns around and gets sprayed in the face. So, Jericho, blinded by this, is pretty much like asking for a towel, but before that happens, he shoves the referee, I believe, to get away from him. Kenny Omega comes over to do something, and Jericho throws Kenny Omega into that chair that is in the turnbuckle. And he does this over and over and over again. He hit him at least 3 or 4 times with that chair in the corner, breaking this chair. Probably broke it on the second time. Kenny Omega got busted open in this match. Like, if you wanted broken tables, you'll get it. If you wanted blood, you got it. If you wanted violence, if you wanted chair shots, if you wanted everything in this under the sun, you got it in this match. Jericho did hit a code breaker in this match for a 2 count. He also got the walls of Jericho and a lion tamer on him. A picture perfect moonsault, which looked better than anything he's put in WWE in the last few years. Just, it looks so much more prettier than it usually does. Jericho sets up a table, one of those small little tables, a little bit earlier on. Ends up going up to try and do some kind of move on the top rope. Kenny Omega comes up and hits him with a V-trigger knee, as they call it, his running knee. Doesn't knock Jericho down the first time. Jericho's holding on. The second time, and I think this was a little bit of a botch, I think Jericho held on a little bit too long. Jericho tries to get back up again. Kenny Omega hits him again, and Jericho falls through this table. And ends up getting his leg cut up. So, this match went on for another 10 minutes. Jericho does, of course, get out of a one-wing angel, which if to WWE fans and NXT fans, it's the Ulster Plantation that Killian Dane uses. Same move, but still pretty as can be. Kenny Omega hits a one-wing angel for a 2 count because Chris Jericho held the ring rope to break the count, which, like I said earlier, make up your mind how this match is going to go. It's a no DQ match, but you're going to call for a rope break when Kenny Omega grabs the ropes, but not call for a rope break when Kenny Omega is under the ropes, but you're going to call for another rope break when Chris Jericho grabs the rope, which I know why they did it is to protect the one-wing angel, because that's Kenny Omega's sweet finisher, and Jericho's only a guest. I mean, I'm sure Okada last year broke out of the one-wing angel. You're not going to have Jericho break out the one-wing angel, so the only way for him to do it is to grab the ropes. Just don't make it a no DQ match then. The no DQ stipulation is getting frustrating with me to see, because it just seems like it's no disqualification, no count out, no nothing. And apparently if Kenny Omega would have been counted out in this match, he would have lost the title, so that boggles my mind. The end of the match is Jericho gets hit with, Kenny Omega hits Chris Jericho with a one-wing angel on a chair for the 3 count. Now, this match was as brutal as I thought it was going to be. This match was as good as I thought it was going to be. I've never seen a Kenny Omega match before this. I've seen a ton of Chris Jericho matches in my lifetime, more than probably most of the main roster, because he's been around since like 1995. I've seen him in WCW. I've seen him in WWE. I missed his ECW stint, but that's not here nor there. So this match was great. Would I like to see another one? Yes. Will it be in WWE? No. The biggest reason, and Jericho said this match could not happen in WWE, and you could tell by the chair shots to the face, to the head. Those have been outlawed in WWE. You wouldn't see those type of shots. Kenny Omega's bleeding would have had to been the hard way, which would have been really hard to do. So, will there be a rematch? I don't think so, because there was no way to do a screwy finish here. The Young Bucks were here at the beginning of the match. Before the match started, the referee, I believe, was trying to throw the Young Bucks out. And Kenny Omega was over to talk to them to try and probably say, hey, I got this, guys, and they would leave. But Chris Jericho, the heel that he was, went over and attacked them, attacked all of them. He got pulled away. That was just a great beginning to the match. Overall, great match. Match of the night, probably, in my opinion. I didn't see every match, of course. I only saw 3. But that was, by far, one of the best matches. Of course, Will Ospreay, Hiromu Takahashi, KUSHIDA, Marty Scurll was my match of the night. So, that's my opinion on that. And then you had Kazuchika Okada over Tetsuya Naito by pinfall with the Rainmaker, retaining his IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Overall, from what I've seen, I would like to see more New Japan Pro Wrestling. But Jericho versus Kenny Omega was a match, a great match, and it was worth the watch. If you can get it or you can find it, it is worth watching. It is as brutal as you expect it to be. Yes, there's a reason that Jericho said this match would not end up in WWE. This match could not happen in WWE is because it's just the brutality that was there was needed. The greatness of these two. A lot of people were wondering, Jericho's in his 50s, how can he, or 40s or 50s, how can he wrestle this type of match? Jericho was not carried. These guys were great from start to finish. There was no rest holds. You know how when you go to WWE and you watch a match, and majority of the time you have someone in a headlock, or you have someone in some kind of rest lock. You didn't see that in this match. This match was great. None of the 3 matches that I saw from this show tonight were like rested at all. These matches were great. And there's a reason why I wish Cody Rhodes was still in WWE, and WWE saw the potential that Cody Rhodes could have. He could be a world champion in WWE if Vince McMahon would actually let him be. Now, that was my take on what I saw from Wrestle Kingdom 12. The 3 matches that I saw were great. I would love to see them again. But I do want to bring this out before we end it on Saturday or Sunday, depending on when I can get the video recorded. We are going to be starting a sort of podcast here. News, rumors, and predictions. And my picture, I forgot. Let me do this again. Yeah. News, rumors, and predictions for the week. I do have some juicy stories to start out the week. My first one with Vince McMahon and his thoughts on the day's product. The debut in the indies of a legend son, which could be great for WWE in the future. Beth Phoenix and her role in the Mixed Match Challenge. News on Enzo Amore. We will all have that this weekend. Make sure to tune in for my news, rumors, and predictions for the week. I will see you guys then. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Twitter @TheFront. And I will see you guys then. Have a good day.